As you may have noticed from today's title, it's going to be a mixed bag of commentary, including we're talking about sales taxes added into your menu pricing, fear of coins, and assessing fees on debit cards. Those are the topics, and the challenge is going to be for me to cover all that in 10 minutes. So let's go. Today's podcast is sponsored by Table Needs. And if you're looking for a game changer for your food truck business, look no further than Table Needs. It is the ultimate package, a killer point of sale system, QR code menu ordering, KDS, and automated sales tax. Plus, they offer business services like marketing and bookkeeping. They're not only just another vendor, they're a business partner. Check them out at tableneeds.com or find them on Facebook. Welcome to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. My name is Bill Moore. I am a food truck business coach, author of 5 food truck vending books, including Food Truck 101 and Food Truck 201. This podcast is all about helping you start and grow your food truck business. Including sales tax in your menu price is a common practice for many vendors for various reasons. But did you know in 19 states this is an illegal practice? Those states are Alabama. There are exceptions though. If you are a vendor of amusement or entertainment, you have to publicly post that your sales tax is included on your menu prices. This is why when you go to a baseball game, they'll tell you it's $10 even. But somewhere on their menu, it says it includes sales tax. This is from rule number 810-6-1-.125. Colorado. The law expressly states that a vendor must show the buyer how much they are paying in sales tax. In Florida, statute 212.07, you cannot include sales tax in menu prices. Georgia, statute 48-8-2, section 34. Idaho, another state where you cannot include sales tax in your prices. Illinois, vendors must state tax separately from items. This is from Act 35 of the Illinois Code and is 120-1. Indiana, their code 6-2.5-9-4, Section A, makes it a criminal infraction for a person to assume or absorb Indiana sales tax or use tax. Kentucky, a detailed receipt showing the tax separately from the purchase price must be issued to the purchaser. Maryland, and this was effective January 3rd of 2008, vendor may assume and absorb all or any part of the sales and use tax on retail sales, and they can pay it on behalf of the buyer. Okay, so that sounds like you can. Except it goes on to say the vendor must continue to separately state the tax from sales prices at the time of the sale to the purchaser. If the vendor absorbs all or any of the tax on the sale, the vendor shall pay the tax with the return that covers the period in which the vendor makes the sale. So it's a really overcomplicated way of saying we're going to add a whole bunch of paperwork if you decide to add in the sales tax with your prices. Massachusetts, collecting the sales or use tax on taxable sales or rentals of tangible personal property or telecommunication services. The tax must be separately stated and separately charged on all invoices, bills, displays, or contracts. Your menu is a display. Michigan, another state where you cannot add sales tax in with your menu prices. Nebraska, their regulation Title 3-16 Regulation 1-039. forbids sales tax being added in with the menu price. In New Jersey, the sales tax must separately state on all bills, receipts, or sales slips issued to customers. This is from the New Jersey Sales Tax Guide Bulletin SNU-4. It's on page 24. In New York State, you cannot add sales tax to the menu prices. This is from Statute 860. North Dakota, with the exception of alcohol sales, you cannot add sales tax into your menu price. In Ohio, and this one gets really confusing because Ohio doesn't charge tax on to-go foods, which is what food trucks sell, except you sell soda, and soda is taxable. So you would have to list the taxes separately on your receipt. You can't make it an even number and say, I include sales tax. And this is rule number 5703-9-02 in Ohio. Vermont requires that the tax be stated separately. Washington State, with exceptions, which happen to include restaurant meals, where the tax is included in the price, it must be expressly or explicitly stated. In Wyoming, they don't allow you to add in the sales tax with your menu price. This is from wyoming.gov, Chapter 2, Section 5J. If you live in one of the states that I did not mention, you still may not be off the tax included hook. You still got city tax and you still have county tax that may be assessed on sales, and they might want it listed separately from the state sales tax because they don't want any confusion and miss out on their cut of the sales tax pie. So while the practice is commonplace amongst food vendors, it may not be legal where you are. And just because the food truck down the street does it, still doesn't make it legal. Which leads us to the next topic, fear of coins. New food vendors often copy and paste into their own procedures what they see other food trucks do. And since I just threw a big wrench into including sales tax in your menu prices in 19 different states, now let's toss another wrench at the even dollar pricing. Hot dog vendors working with a change apron have always used even dollars so they wouldn't have to carry around coins in that apron. But did you know in 10 states it would be impossible? And why is that? Sales taxes are assessed on the subtotal of the full ticket and not added individually to each product, which means it's easy to include sales tax on a single item and your POS can be programmed for that. But if a guest orders multiple items, the tax gets out of kilter and forces change. Let's say that you have a product and you want to get $10 for that product, and you're going to include your state's sales tax rate, and let's say it's 8.25%. Easy math shows that your POS system can be programmed for $9.24. It will then add in the 76-cent sales tax, and guess what you get? $10 even. But what happens if that guest wants 20 of those $9.24 products? The POS system then will ring up $184.80 and charge 8.25% sales tax on that total, which gives you $15.25 worth of tax. And that's not an even amount anymore. You are now either cheating the state by only charging $200 even when you should be charging $200.05, or you're cheating yourself, which could land you in the poorhouse. And you know what happens when you cheat the state out of their taxes? You land in jail. So you got a choice, poorhouse or jail. Which one you going to do? Or you can just have coins in your cash till. The best practice is to add tax to the subtotal and make change. It's 2023, y'all. POS systems tell you exactly how much change to give. There's no math needed. The keystrokes have to be completed whether you're using round numbers or not. And if you're not using a POS system to track your sales and track your inventory, you're just not a serious vendor, and you're not looking to build your business because you're not controlling anything about your business. And yeah, that's hard to hear, but it is the truth. So being afraid of making change is often rationalized by, it's too slow. I can assure you, as someone who's participated in time studies for credit card processing connectivity, change machines automatically giving out change, and just fast, well-trained human cashiers at 2 different restaurant chains, I can tell you the results of those 2 studies. Human beings are faster and make the line go faster than straight credit card sales, and then also lines with change machines. Humans are faster. It's amazing. Plus, we found a statistical dead heat in transactions involving coins and paper versus transactions that just involved paper only. A great cashier is a great cashier whether they're handling coins or they're handling just paper. A slow cashier is a slow cashier whether they're handling coins or just handling paper. When I see a vendor that claims no coins is so much faster, I know it's a cop-out. I know it's an excuse. Those cashiers are literally counting out change as soon as the total's given. There's a bunch that I've met that do that. Before they even know what the denomination of the bill is going to be, they've got in their head how much change they're giving back because they're good. You want good cashiers. They drive sales. Being fast is just practice, and being fast is also being pushed to get faster. I don't do math when I do change. I've been doing this since 1977. I have never, ever done the math on giving people change. And I've done this before there was POS systems that would tell you exactly how much change to give. You had to look at a printed piece of paper and do the math yourself. But you know what? I'm from Kentucky. I couldn't do the math, but I know how to count. And so do you. Which takes us to transactions with no money involved. Too many food truck owners are doing this one really illegal thing, and that is credit card surcharges or convenience fees being assessed on a debit card. Every time a merchant accepts and processes a credit card transaction, they pay a processing fee. We all know that. And you pay it to the credit card processing company, the POS system in most cases. We all know that. A credit card surcharge is a fee that's enforced by the merchant, which is you, to compensate for some costs of that processing. Most states allow this to be added on under certain circumstances, and most food vendors don't know what those certain circumstances are and screw them up. This fee can only be applied to credit cards. It can never be applied to a debit card. Even if you think you're being smart and going, I'll just run them all as a credit card. I'll make everybody have to sign. Doesn't work that way. A debit card is a debit card, and that's considered a cash-to-cash transaction. And if you actually have a merchant account, you'll find that debit cards are charged at a much, much smaller percentage. But most food truck owners don't get their own merchant account. What they do is they go with Square, which is a flat fee. Same fee for credit cards, same fee for debit cards. Or they fall for the nonsense of the cash discount schemes, where now the debit card is being gouged a 4% fee. And guess what? It's illegal. You can't do that. But somehow the salesperson forgot to tell you that when they sold you that cash discount scheme. There's also some other things you got to understand about surcharging. You cannot make that a profit center. A surcharge cannot exceed 3% because Visa reduced the amount that they will accept as a surcharge. 3% cannot be a profit center. Guess what cash discount schemes do? Create a profit center out of the surcharge. Now, there are some states that have an exception to this rule, and one of them is Colorado. Merchants in that state can charge a surcharge, but guess what? It's capped at 2%. They cannot have a higher percentage than 2% as a surcharge. Surcharges are also not applicable to prepaid cards. So somebody comes in with a Visa gift card, you can't charge them a surcharge because it's considered cash-to-cash handling. You have to list surcharges as a separate item. When drafting an invoice and totaling up a transaction, and what that is you ringing up on your POS system, you cannot add the surcharge to the total cost of the service. Each surcharge has to be listed separately on the invoice, which would be your receipt, and it has to be clearly labeled. So every single person that's out there telling somebody that comes up with a credit card says, hey, we're going to charge you a fee, and you don't give them a printed receipt, you're breaking the law. You're violating the terms and conditions of Visa and MasterCard. Somebody turns you in, you'll lose the right to be able to accept any credit cards. This practice reinforces transparency. These rules reinforce transparency. It makes it clear to your guests that they're being charged an additional fee for using a credit card. We as business people don't want to let guests know that we're charging you for a whole bunch of crap. So you'll try to sneak in that little fee. Now, I've seen it many times. Walked up to a food truck just a couple of weeks ago, ordered my food, and the guy told me it's going to be $10. Not a problem. He's already done one thing wrong because he's included the tax in his total, and we're in Florida, so he can't do that. I pulled out my debit card, so all he saw was a card. He said, oh, the credit card's going to be $10.56. So now he is charging me a fee at 5.6%, which was wrong, and he's trying to roll the tax into that too. And he wouldn't give me a receipt. You know why? Because he knew he was doing something wrong, and he didn't want a paper trail to prove that he was doing something wrong. So the moral of all this stuff I've been going over is you got to understand what's going on in your business. You got to understand that you can't just copy and paste what some other vendor's doing and assume or hope that they're doing it right. Thank you so much for listening to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. If you're finding all the information helpful to your food truck business, please become a monthly supporter of the podcast. Just hit the support button or follow the link in the description. Every little bit does help keep us going. Join our Facebook group. It's called Food Truck Training. We have a whole bunch of awesome members at all different levels, from brand new beginners to decades-old veterans. They've all got your back when it comes to helping you with your food truck. And again, thank you for listening. Come back tomorrow because you know I got plenty more to say when it comes to helping you and your food truck business grow.